Hi, friends. In this episode, we are going to talk about when we think that our grief is not as bad as other people's, so we should just push it away and be quiet about it. So, welcome, friends, and please like and subscribe to this channel or this podcast if you're listening, and help share this podcast with others. So, this episode, I want to talk about. I was coaching somebody the other day, and I was obviously, it was a group call and I was coaching on grief, obviously. And so I was talking with somebody and she said that she felt bad because she's like, well, my grief isn't really that bad, or it's not as bad as other people's grief, but I feel like it is grief. And so she proceeded to talk about her mother-in-law was going to be moving closer to them. I think the mother-in-law had been recently divorced or something, and it was a bad situation. So this gal's husband and her were going to move the mother-in-law closer to them so they could kind of help her get back on her feet. She'd be near the grandkids, and she was really excited for her mother-in-law to be closer and to have this relationship with her that she was expecting, that she had been longing for, that she'd been looking forward to. In her mind, once mother-in-law moves closer, that means our relationship will look like this. And whatever that was in her mind, right? Like what it meant for her was mother-in-law and I will talk. She'll just pop over. We'll have great conversations. We'll bond with each other, be somebody to help me with the kids. Like it really that mother-daughter nurturing role. And what happened was when the mother-in-law came out to visit, and the house is on the market, she's going to be moving there within a month. Things did not go as planned. The mother-in-law was making some comments. Um, just daughter-in-law realized that the mother-in-law was really negative about a lot of their friends that came over and visited. Once the son brought the mother-in-law to the airport, she was saying how, well, your wife does this and this and this. And so she was really hurt by that. And we're just going to call her Sally. Okay. So Sally was really hurt by the mother-in-law. And she was grieving this relationship that she thought she was going to have up within a month of coming, right? She was like, oh my gosh, like we're going to have this great bond, this great relationship. And after this visit, she's like, oh my gosh, like this is never going to happen. We're never going to have this kind of relationship. She's never going to see me how I want to be seen. And so things were just spiraling out of control. And so what I want to say is first and foremost that is grief, right? Grief is a normal response to a major loss. And for her, for Sally, this grief of what she perceived that she was losing her mother-in-law, she was losing this relationship she thought she was going to have. There is a grief there. And then you add in like the holiday stress, right? This is right around the holidays. So there was like the holiday stress. There was the stress of, oh my gosh, now my mother-in-law is moving here. This is permanent. Like this is going to be horrible. And so what we did was we really talked through, first and foremost, some boundaries that maybe needed to be set. Maybe you don't want your mother-in-law just barging into your house. Maybe even if you do have a good relationship, that's not a healthy thing to have happen. Maybe it is. Like, what do you want this relationship to look like? And I think the other thing to realize and to recognize is sometimes relationships are hard work. And a lot of times, you might be the person putting in the work and the effort, and the other person seems like they're just coasting by. And they really could care less if you had this relationship or not. And so, for one, that could just be a lie that your brain is telling you, right? Like, but you also have gathered evidence to see that, hey, I'm the one who's always reaching out. I'm the one who's doing the phone calls. I'm the one who's setting up these coffee dates. I'm the person who's reaching out to say, hey, like, I want to get together. I want to be with you. I enjoy your time. So you can see that, right? And then your brain starts to tell you that, well, they don't really care about you. They don't really want you to be around, which might be completely untrue. It might be they just show up differently than you do. And so that's okay. The other thing that I want you to ask yourself is the effort worth it? Do I want to keep this person in my life or not? And if the answer is yes, then be like, okay, then it's not like I have to do these things. It's because I really want to do these things. I'm really choosing this person. I want to have this relationship, whatever it looks like in your mind, right? Like I want to have this relationship, so I'm choosing it time and time again. And just having that little shift of saying, I'm choosing versus I have to can really make you feel so much lighter. It doesn't feel like there's a bunch of burden being put on you, right? It's not saying that it's always easy necessarily. It's just saying, no, I'm choosing this because I really want to. So you can do that. The other thing is to know that whatever you decide does not have to be permanent. You can say, yes, I really like, I have the time right now. I know that other person, like, they just moved, they just lost their husband through divorce or whatever, like through death. Like, they are having a lot of life changes. And so, yes, I want to show up for that person. I'm willing to do that. The other thing is to know, hey, maybe after we get in a few months, things get settled. Maybe I don't want to put in that much effort. And to know that you can always change your mind. I think that so many times, people, whenever I coach people, and I do this myself too, right? Like, we think that what we decide in this moment is going to be permanent, and therefore we have to make the best decision for all of eternity, which is not true, right? We can even say a week from now, I might change my mind. So ask yourself those questions. Ask yourself what you want this to look like, what you want to choose, how you want to choose to show up, and then move forward that way. And I guarantee it will feel so much better, not only for you, but for the other person as well, because they'll feel that shift as well. They'll feel if you're resentful and feeling like you have to go through the motions with them. But the bigger thing is the difference that it makes for you. You no longer will feel that stress and that pressure to keep showing up a certain way if you don't want to. So, again, join me. I am doing one-on-one Voxer coaching for 2 weeks at the end of January. I know January is really hard. We have a lot of people checking in with us during December with our grief, and then it just kind of stops in January. So I wanted to provide you guys with a little extra support. So you can go to nursegriefcoaching.com and check out that I have running for January. And I'm so excited for that. So I am praying for you guys. And I hope that you have the very best possible day that you can.